Hey guys, Jonathan here, and today I'm reviewing the 2021 Guardians ship and the 2024 Guardians Milano. Both of these sets are considered the top tier for the Guardians ships that have been offered by LEGO, and of course, in today's video, I want to do a shootout comparison and let you know what I think of both, especially considering they're so close in price point. Now, with that being said, the Milano was sent to me recently by LEGO to review, but of course, all thoughts here are my own, and this is mainly focused on the comparison. So let's throw it back to the 2021 ship, shall we? This retailed for $160 with 1,901 pieces, and it had 6 minifigures, only one of which is exclusive, and that's Star-Lord, of course, here with the dual-molded legs. If you don't count those dual-molded legs, every single minifig in this set appeared in at least one other LEGO set, which certainly takes away from some of the value at the $160 price point. This set retired in December of 2023 and was considered an instant classic and a fan favorite based off of the Guardians ship from the Infinity Saga. Now in 2024, we got the Milano, which released on August 1st with 2,090 pieces for $180. So a slight price increase from before, but we do get 5 minifigs here, 4 of which are exclusive, at least as of the recording of this video. Those exclusive minifigs definitely help add some value here, and of course, we do have a slightly higher piece count, which also equates to the slightly higher price, but as you can see, I could barely get both ships in the camera, especially not at full length. So let's take a look at both ships and see what they have to offer and conclusively decide which one's better. Of course, this is just going to be my opinion, so let me know down in the comments which one you like better, if you have both, if you plan on getting both, and how on earth you're going to display both, because I still don't know how I'm going to have room for both of these. Alright, so we'll start off by comparing the minifigs. Now, not every minifig is one-to-one in the sense that we didn't get the same characters across both sets, but at the same time, they're not even depicting the same era of Guardians, so really getting too nitpicky isn't fair, but I do think it's good to show the quality of the figures between the several years that they were released. Of course, the 2021 version does have that great Infinity Saga, or rather Infinity War style jacket on the torso there, and both figures here use the exact same Chris Pratt style head. This one has the Superman curl hairpiece in that sandy blonde color, which I think looks really good. At the time, I was like, I don't really know if this works for Quill. Still, I think that this hair on the right is the best hair for Chris Pratt, but this was a nice change and not completely out of left field. Of course, the big selling point for this minifigure are those dual-molded legs with the black boots that look really, really good, but when we fast forward to the 2024 version, of course, this is depicting the Guardians Volume 1 version of the character from the end of the movie, and the legs on here are really great with those knee pad printing details on there, and that stark blue shirt underneath that really just makes the rest of the color on this pop. I love that shade of blue, and it really, really just makes the entire thing accentuated. When we flip them around, the backs of the torsos are pretty similar in terms of depth of detail. Not too much to get into here, although I suppose that the 2021 version does have more detail than the 2024 version, but again, it's not even depicting the same suit, so it's only fair to talk about that to a T. Up next, we have Rocket Raccoon. And it's interesting because we are kind of going back in time between the two. The newer one is from an older movie, and the older one is from a newer movie. How confusing is that? Anyways, both of them use the newer style of rocket head, which of course does not have the shoulder pads that the Guardians 1 and Guardians 2 and even Infinity War versions of Rocket had. So we're going with that brown color scheme. This one, of course, has the goggles printed on top, whereas the 2024 one does not have those goggles. That was definitely a nice addition there. Of course, we do have a lot of detail on both torsos and the brown tail, but again, because we're not really even comparing the same suits, it's more just to show them side by side rather than to nitpick which one is better than the other. It's up to you to decide which one you like better. Alright, up next we've got the girls of both sets, Mantis and Gamora. Now here, I do think that the better value comes from Gamora, because Mantis has, been appearing in sets for quite some time now, especially this specific version, but also, we've only ever gotten one version of Gamora in this suit over the years, so it's really nice to get her again, and the level of detail here really makes the old one age poorly. Of course, both figures are really awesome. They both have expressions on the back of the head that we can take a look at as well, so that's really cool, and I do think that both of these figures are great. However, the Gamora is just a better value in my opinion, because of the scarcity of the character in general, how long it's been since we got her, and of course her exclusivity to this set. Up next, we've got the Brawn of the Guardians, depending on the era or the figures being offered. And that, of course, gives us Thor for the Infinity Saga set and, of course, Drax for the 2014 version. Now, both of these figures are really good in terms of the detail and what's offered, but Drax is clearly the winner here. We haven't had a gray shirtless Drax since 2017, so this is a really, really nice addition to the LEGO Marvel lineup. Plus, of course, the fact that they still gave him the printing on the arms for his tattoos is really nice. He does use the same legs as Star-Lord and Gamora in this set, but the color scheme, the expression, everything on Drax is really great here. And that's not to say that Thor is a bad figure, but it is the same Thor that's appeared in other sets, and as far as uniqueness and exclusivity go, the edge definitely goes to Drax. If we lift the cape up, you can see Thor has some printing on the back. He also has lightning eyes, which make him a really nice figure with a lot of play opportunity, plus that brick-built Stormbreaker we talked about. But come on, everybody's going to agree that Drax is the superior figure of the two. Now, when we compare the Groots, we definitely have a Benjamin Button thing going on here, with Baby Groot being the newer one. But regardless, it is nice that LEGO matched the color scheme between the two, because assuming that you got into collecting LEGO more recently, this is probably the Groot you have. In the old Groot, from 2014 up through 2018, all offerings of Groot, I should say, were the kind of dark brown color, versus this being like a lighter tan brown. So that's definitely really nice, and I like that a lot. In 2021, we got the really nice leg print on Groot with the toe printing that just looks really great. And of course, we used that Groot headpiece with no printing on the back, but a great torso print on the back there as well as the front. So a really nice figure all around. And in the 2024 model, we get Baby Groot dancing in the pot. He's standing on two 1x1 studs that go in that flower pot. And of course, he's dancing the night away with that pose right there. Now, the 2021 set randomly came with a Chitauri. I guess it does add to the play value to have something for the Guardians to fight, but he was a pretty random inclusion, and he makes for a 6th minifigure, whereas the newer set only has 5, so there's nothing to compare here, but it doesn't really add a lot of value to the set, considering Chitauris are army builders, and we've gotten lots of them in various sets over the years. Now, before we take an in-depth look at both models themselves, I do think it's important to note that this set here really kind of opened our eyes to what could be offered in the sub-$200 range as far as Marvel ships that have stands. Since then, we've gotten the Quinjet and various other sets that have stands that make them just as much display models as they are play models, but I really like that this kicked the door open in 2021, and of course, both sets have that black stand. We'll take a look at both because the stands are very different, but I don't really know that it's fair to compare the stands or the value of the stands because they're really built to only be used with the ship that you get in the set, and both work exactly the same, so, you know, I don't know how much difference there is. The one thing I'll say is if we move the Milano out of the way, the 2021 version can actually pivot and rotate to show different posing, so I suppose if we are going to compare them, it is nice that you get some posability with the 2021 version, whereas the 2024 Milano just kind of sits in one position. I don't know if that moves the needle for Not or you. I've never been able to position it at an angle other than straightforward on my shelves, so I've never really counted it as a huge bonus, but the fact that you could, I suppose, is a really nice added value that until I started talking about it now, maybe I didn't realize people might give it some extra points for that. But again, for me, it never really earned any extra. Okay, so here we are with the BENATAR, an absolutely massive ship, and as we just saw, it can be rotated on its stand so you can position it in different ways depending on how you want to store it on your shelf. Now, I have to be honest, I don't like this ship as much as the Milano in terms of just MCU lore and the way it looks on screen. That's not to say this is a bad set. I'm just saying that I prefer the Milano more if I was to be given the keys to one ship or the other myself. That being said, this does use a lot of really great building techniques as far as the contouring goes, and even the shaping of the orange over top the gray, just to add a lot of unique colorization. Now, when we come to these wings in the back, they actually open. I believe that these are like thrusters in the movie, because we've got these blue engine pieces down here, and we also have these wings that open up too. So again, depending on your shelf space, you really could take up some serious real estate with this one. In my collection, this takes up an entire shelf onto its own. Now, for some people, that's going to be an absolutely awesome thing, but if you collect literally everything LEGO Marvel, in some ways, it's almost too much of a good thing, because, of course, it takes up so much space. Now, in the movie, there's an escape pod that drops out of the back. That's not possible to happen here. In the PlayScale version that we got in 2018, you could actually buy Thor's Weapon Quest as well as the Thanos Ultimate Battle and combine those. But in this case, it's actually just one ship with nothing removable in terms of the pod in the back. Now, let me go ahead and show you the wings here. The bottom wing does move, but the top wing is kind of fixed in position. It has a little bit of give to it and move, but it's really only the bottom wing that's supposed to be moved. And then if we tilt it this way, just so you can see the underside, we do have some thrusters on the bottom that kind of help propel this as we fly it through space. Now, when we move it straight back here, you can see that it kind of locks into the stand pretty well, so we could move it as we just did without any pieces falling off. But then we can lift up this front part here to see the inner part of the cockpit. We can also access that by lifting up the printed windshield here, where we could see some, buttons here on screen. And basically, you're able to seat your minifigures in there to pilot it. So just for a quick example, why don't we go ahead and put Star-Lord in the top seat so he looks a little something like that. And then we'll put Rocket in the front seat so he looks a little something like that. So then we can close it and we can have both figures in there. And the entire top part can lift out all on its own. Not the way I was thinking, though. It's been a minute since I've handled this set, but this roof part lifts up a little something like that. The Milano actually lifts the whole way up, so that's why it was a little more recent in my memory. But now we'll move the camera to show you the interior. Now, I've gone ahead and placed some minifigures for scale, and I'll remove them in just a second, but so you can see, we have some chairs there, or rather seats, so that you could seat two minifigs right behind the cockpit, and there's a little walking area in the center here, where we have a donut there, as well as a screen and a coffee maker, it seems. But I'll move the camera so we can get a better position, but here's our top view, and I really do like this. Uh-oh, the seat came off with leaving Mantis there. I really do like the interior of this, though. That being said, it's just a little bit crammed. Like, it's all I can do to fit, my hand in there. And it is just a little bit crammed, and it's hard to see the detail on camera, but even more so in person. I'm going to go ahead and float the camera here so you can see a little closer, but that's one thing that's always sort of bothered me about the interior here, is there's a lot of detail, but there's not really a good vantage point to see it all, especially when you're talking on camera, but I'll try my best to show you anyways. So when we look on the screen here, we can see that Quill has been looking at the file for Gamora as they search for her across the galaxy. Then in the back, which again is very difficult to see, we do have some detail, but I can't even get the camera back there. I don't know how I did it 3 years ago. If I did it at all, guess we'll have to go back and watch the video. Then you can see on the wall here, we do have some extra stickers with some really cool computer pieces there that make the ship feel a lot more alive and lived in. But overall, the interior of this is really nowhere near as good as the 2024 Milano. So let's take a look and start comparing them now. All right, now that brings us to the 2024 Milano. Since it's been a minute since we talked about it, it has 2,090 pieces with a $179.99 price tag and 5 minifigs. So the wingspan of this is absolutely insane. The first thing I want to point out, though, is how incredible the color contouring is. Let's just go ahead and pick on this side. Look how these bricks fit together to create not only the shaping of the orange to go back and at an angle, but also it fits in with the blue and the gray to be literally seamless. We even have like kind of a little plus sign right there. It literally looks incredible. Now, it did just come off the stand, so unlike the set previous, this set actually does remove from the stand pretty easy. Not such a bad thing, and as you can see, it's kind of displayed at a little bit of an angle on the stand. That being said, let's go ahead and take a look at this side. We do have a Milano sticker that's right here, and then all the wings on this actually move, which is pretty incredible. So our top wings move up and down because there's 2 ball joints, so they don't really move much beyond that. Then this wing here, I guess, is stationary, but beneath it, this wing moves on 2 little pieces there. Then if we flip the whole thing around, you can see that this wing moves on a ball joint in the back. There's 2 ball joints there. One of them had come undone, so you get the real raw version here. But this can go into the little opening on the side of the wing right here, which is pretty cool. Over on the side, you can see we've got some thrusters in the back. These ones are on ball joints, so they can move in any which direction, as the same with the bottom. I also really like this window here, which we'll be able to revisit a little better when we go inside. But basically, there's a bed right there. You can sort of see the pillows of the bed, if you will. And I really like that you kind of get some story continuity with the ship of being able to see in the outside and everything there. We also have this little engine right here. Then, of course, all the wing functionality replays on the side. I love underneath how they got the shaping of this. You know, when you look at it, how it angles back and forth, and even how it angles up into the build is truly phenomenal and really just makes this a standout set. To me, this really shows the high watermark of what LEGO Marvel can offer in this price range, and I literally could not be more impressed. So, we'll go ahead and move just a little bit closer. We do, just like the 2021 ship we just looked at, have a uniquely printed cockpit here, which lifts up and allows you to fit the Guardians into the cockpit here for piloting. So we're just going to put them in random spots, but as you can see, we can actually fit 3 Guardians this time, which is incredibly cool. So we'll put Gamora in the top seat here. Then, of course, Rocket can go in this seat right here. And I do think that that's incredible. Not only do they all fit from a seating position, but you can also close it, which looks amazing. And of course, you can see all of their faces that way. Now, this entire top section does lift out. Remember, I was trying to do that last time. And then we have area for all the Guardians inside. In fact, they all have a dedicated spot, which is pretty cool. So you can put the 3 pilots up front, as you can see. Then, of course, Baby Groot can go on this little table right here. If I could get him to face the right way, that'd help. And then, of course, Drax can sit in the seat behind, and you can recreate that scene from the end of Guardians. So as you can see, Groot fits on that table perfectly, and Drax fits in that seat. And when you look at it from a certain angle, it perfectly recreates that scene from the Guardians credits roll. That being said, behind Drax, you can see that there are spots to put his knives as well as Gamora's sword hanging in the wall. There's a very cool vintage poster on the wall behind Groot, which is great. Then over on this side, we've got Yondu calling in on the screen. It's technically the Guardians 2 Yondu with the, mohawk and everything, so it's not super accurate to Guardians 1, but I could give it a pass just based on how great it is. We have a walkway on both sides here, and if you look, we have all these studs facing there where you could put your minifigures standing all around the interior of the Milano. There's also clips to hide Star-Lord's guns. And then just like I said, we do have that bed in the back as well as the awesome mixed tape deck there. And there's the window. You can kind of see my finger there, the window beneath the bed. So I really like how much story there is in this. And again, just all of the colors and contouring and shaping on this really make it the standout model of the 2 for me. All right, guys, well, that's going to bring us to the end of today's video. The Guardians ship from 2021 was an amazing set and really broke the mold for what we can get from LEGO. But although the price is slightly higher, especially when equating for inflation, I think the 2024 Milano is just a superior set. The ship itself is more iconic. The contouring and the colors that we talked about really blow my mind at how great LEGO has gotten with shaping. And of course, most of the minifigs being exclusive as of this video really just take the cake for how awesome this set is. And it's a new high watermark for me for what LEGO Marvel can offer. In any case, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.